He wasn't supposed to matter. That's what Daniel Carter reminded himself every morning as he adjusted his worn-out tie and walked into a building where everything, and everyone, cost more than his entire life put together. But that morning was different. Because the billionaire who owned the company was already watching him. Late again, she said. Daniel checked his watch instinctively. 8:59. I'm early, he replied calmly. She smiled. Not kindly, not even professionally, just enough to let him know she enjoyed this. Early for people who don't matter, she said, stepping closer. For people who do, you're invisible. That should have been the end of it. He should have walked away, ignored her, like he always did, but something about the way she said it, so casually, like it was a fact, not an insult, made it harder this time. I'm here to work, Daniel said. And yet, she replied, tilting her head slightly, you always look like you're somewhere else. That was the first crack. He didn't answer, because she wasn't wrong. Single dad, right, she added suddenly. Daniel stiffened. That's not something I discuss at work. But it is something that affects your work, she said smoothly. Leaving early, no networking, no flexibility, I get my job done. Barely, she said. That wasn't true. They both knew it, but she didn't care about truth. She cared about control. That'll be all, he said, turning slightly. But her voice stopped him again. Does she know? Daniel froze, slowly turned back. Know what? That you're barely holding everything together, she said. That was the first real hit. And it landed. My daughter is fine, he said, sharper than before. The billionaire smiled again. There it was. She'd found it. The one place he couldn't stay calm. They always look fine, she said softly. Until they're not. That was the first twist. Because suddenly, this wasn't just mocking. It felt intentional. Daniel walked away before he said something he'd regret. But her words didn't stay behind. They followed him, all day. It didn't stop there. It never did. Every meeting, every hallway, every chance she got, she said something. Small, precise, targeted, still rushing out at 5:30. No after-hours commitment. Must be hard, choosing between career and childcare. It wasn't loud. It wasn't public humiliation. It was worse. It was personal. That was the second twist. Because no one else noticed. To everyone else, she was just a brilliant, composed CEO. But with him, it was different. 3 weeks later, something changed. Daniel's daughter got sick. Not serious, but serious enough. The kind of fever that doesn't let you leave the house. He sent an email. Simple, direct. I'll be working remotely today. He didn't expect a reply. But he got one. Immediately. Be in the office. 10 a.m. Mandatory. No explanation. No flexibility. Just an order. Daniel stared at the screen. Then at his daughter, Lily, curled up on the couch. Sweating. Sleeping. Trusting him. That was the third twist. Because for the first time, he didn't listen. I won't be coming in, he replied. 5 minutes later, his phone rang. He didn't need to check the name. Do you understand who you're speaking to? Her voice came through. Do you understand I have a sick child? He shot back. Silence. Short, sharp, dangerous. Everyone has problems, she said finally. Not everyone has a 6-year-old with a fever, he replied. Another pause. Then, be here tomorrow, she said, and hung up. That was it. No threat, no consequence. And somehow, that was worse. The next day, Daniel walked in expecting to be fired. He wasn't. Instead, she was waiting. Again. But something was different. She didn't speak immediately. She just watched him. Studied him. Like she was trying to understand something. You chose her, she said finally. Daniel frowned. Of course I did. Something shifted in her expression. Too fast to fully see. You didn't even hesitate, she added. I did, he said quietly. I just didn't show it. That was the fourth twist. Because for the first time, he was honest. And she noticed. I would have fired you, she said. I know. But I didn't. I noticed. Silence stretched between them. Then, why? He asked. She didn't answer right away. Instead, she did something unexpected. She stepped closer. Too close. Close enough that he could see something behind her usual control. Something unstable, You remind me of someone, she said. That was the fifth twist. Daniel blinked. That's not a compliment, is it? No, she said softly. It's not. Days passed. The mocking didn't stop, but it changed. It wasn't as sharp, not as deliberate, almost like she was holding back, watching more than attacking. That was the sixth twist. Because now, he noticed her too. The way she stayed late. The way she avoided certain conversations. The way her confidence slipped. Just for a second, when she thought no one was looking. Then came the night everything broke. A company event. Mandatory. Daniel almost didn't go, but he couldn't risk it. So he arranged a babysitter. Showed up. Stayed quiet. Stayed invisible. Until she found him. Of course she did. You clean up well, she said. That's surprising to you, he asked. A little, she admitted. That was new. Honesty. From her. What do you want? He asked. She didn't answer. Instead, she reached for his drink. Took a sip, without asking. That was the seventh twist. Because it wasn't about power anymore. It felt personal. You're different tonight, he said. So are you, she replied. How? You're not leaving. I have a sitter. For how long? Long enough. Silence. Then, dance with me, she said. Daniel laughed softly. That's not a good idea. Why not? Because you don't like me. She held his gaze. You're wrong, she said. That was the eighth twist. Because suddenly, nothing made sense anymore. Before he could react, she stepped closer. Too close. And then, she kissed him. No warning. No hesitation. Just impulse. That was the ninth twist. And everything stopped. The music. The noise. The room. It all disappeared. Daniel didn't move. Didn't respond. Because his mind was trying to catch up with something his reality couldn't explain. She pulled back first, breathing slightly uneven, and for the first time, she looked unsure. I shouldn't have done that, she said. No, he agreed quietly. You shouldn't have, but neither of them moved away. That was the 10th twist. Because something had already changed. Something irreversible. Why did you do it? He asked. She looked at him, really looked, and for the first time, there was no control, no power, just truth. Because you stayed, she said. He frowned. What? You stayed, she repeated. When it mattered, his chest tightened. This isn't about a kiss, is it? He asked. No, she said softly. It never was. Silence. Then, my father left, she said. The words hit harder than anything else. That was the 11th twist. Daniel didn't interrupt, didn't move. I was 8, she continued. He just decided we weren't enough. The room felt heavier. My mother spent years pretending he'd come back, she added. I watched her break a little more every day. Daniel swallowed. And you think I'm him? He asked. No, she said. Then why? Because I was waiting for you to be. That stopped him. Completely. That was the 12th twist. I kept pushing you, she said. Mocking you. Testing you. To prove what? That you'd leave too, she said. The truth settled between them. Heavy. Unavoidable. But you didn't, she added. Daniel's voice softened. I almost did. But you didn't, she repeated. And suddenly, everything made sense. The tension. The mocking. The obsession. It wasn't hate. It was fear. I don't date, he said quietly, because I don't want my daughter to feel abandoned. Her eyes softened. I don't let people close, she replied, because I don't want to be abandoned again. Silence. But this time, it wasn't empty. It was understood. That kiss, he said slowly, wasn't about me. No, she admitted. It was about proving something to yourself. Yes, he nodded. That doesn't make it right. I know. Another pause. Then, will you regret it? He asked. She looked at him. And for the first time, she smiled. Not cold. Not controlled. Real. No, she said. That was the final twist. Because for the first time, neither of them was pretending anymore. And for the first time, Daniel didn't feel like running. Not from her. Not from the possibility. Not from what might happen next. Because maybe, just maybe, some people don't come into your life to leave. Some people come to prove that not everyone does.
Hey there. Subscribe to my channel. And also press this bell icon.